Well, hello and welcome back once again. It's always a pleasure to have you with me. At this point in time, I would like to encourage you to take some time to review those previous videos, play them over and over again. Here's what's going to happen. As you start applying these concepts, and one at a time, whatever it takes, whatever comes to you more naturally right now, okay, you can always get to more advanced concepts later, okay, if things are a little challenging. But the thing is, you're going to be coming from a different point of view once you actually assimilate some of this material and apply yourself. So when you go back and watch a video again, it's a different person watching those videos, okay? And there's so many more levels you can take this to, all right? And you'll experience that for yourself. So far, we have had fun within the environment of a C major scale, right? These four chords, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, and F major 7, all consist of the white keys, or the naturals, okay? And of course, the C major scale is all the white keys. Okay? So we can say the C major is 7 because its name, the root of the chord, is on the 1. We can call this the 1 chord. This is the 1 chord in the key of, what key are we in? We are in the key of C major. C major scale, key of C major. Okay? So this is the 1 chord in the key of C major. When we move to that D minor 7, here's the 2 chord in the key of C major. E minor 7 would be the 3 chord, of course. And F major 7 would be the 4 chord. Now the C major scale has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tones, okay, before we repeat that root. So we've played 4 chords. That means there are 3 chords we have not yet acknowledged. I'd like to focus on the 5 chord today. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, and 5. What do you notice about 5? What are you hearing here in relation to where you've come from here? Do you feel a sudden jolt or a sudden I think of static electricity or however you describe it? Does it sort of like contrast significantly with the previous 4 chords? Yeah, it does, right? We're in the home chord, we could say, the 1 chord. The name of this key is C, so here is the C major 7 chord. So the number 1 chord is very relaxing. The number 2 chord here, it moves a bit, okay, but we're still comfortable, right? The E minor 7, same thing, maybe a little brighter. The F major 7, uplifting maybe? Whatever adjectives you use, they're right for you, okay? The G7 chord. Seems a little dissonant, doesn't it? Okay. Well, played just in this manner, okay, with the 1, 3, 5, and 7 of the chord, just like that, is perfectly fine in some genres and some particular musical situations, okay? However, we are actually having some enjoyment playing in this sort of like cocktail piano, kind of relaxing kind of music, okay? So this 5 sort of contrasts quite a bit. However, because of its strength, it's known as the dominant chord, Okay, and we can hear that, right? It's a strong chord. And the reason it's so strong is because of that dissonance. Something in this chord exists that did not exist in the other chords. And here it is. The 3 of the chord and the 7 of the chord are at a certain distance from each other. We could say 1 whole step, 2 whole steps, 3 whole steps. That's called a tritone. That is a tritone, and it has a very dissonant sound. However, it has a very important function. You see, this 3 of G and this 7 of G, they want to come closer to each other to rest upon C and E, which is what? Contained in our C major. It's almost the entire C major triad, right? So that goes hand in hand with why we call this a dominant chord. It has the strongest force back home. Okay, the dominant 7th chord, this G7 chord, will almost always be followed by the home or the 1 chord. This is a 5 to 1 chord progression. 5 to 1. However, the way we're playing it here, these 2 notes really want to come toward this C chord, right? So in a way, it's doing that when we go back down to here. However, it's quite a way, right? So if we could get these 2 notes, the B and the F, closer, then maybe things would be a little bit more congenial. Let's try that. Here's the G7 chord. We're going to take this F, the 7, and put it over here instead. Okay, let's get that with one hand here. Okay, we're already closer. Can we do it again? Let's take this D and put it here instead. Alright, well that gives us this. Look how close we are to the home chord, which is here. So this G7, we just flipped over or inverted. That's why it is called an inversion. Okay? This is an inversion of G7. You'll notice that its 7 is lower than the 3 now, because we flipped it. Also, this 3 of the G7 is the 7 of our C major 7. And this F, the 7 of G7, wants to go right next door here to the E in C major 7. And that's exactly what happens when we play this. So it's a little easier to listen to then. And when we play it, when we play this, we want to kind of treat it with care, okay? We don't want to be, banging it out. Okay, it already has its strength due to what we discussed. So you can be delicate with that 5 chord. And it's generally always going to be followed by the 1. Now that's not always true, okay, but practically, yeah. From a practical point of view, yes. Okay, so you'll want to make a point in your improvisations to sometimes precede that 1 chord with the 5 chord, because the 5 chord has the greatest strength back home to 1. The greatest force, we could say. Let's try to do this in context. see how that worked? The 2 chord was here. The D minor 7. The 5 chord is here. The G7. The 2 chord to the 5 chord. That is a 2-5 chord progression. You don't have to remember it right now, but if you're curious, right? Yes, a 2, 5, 1 chord progression. D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7. That's a 2-5-1 chord progression. So let's make it shorter here. Okay, so E minor, let's start on the C major to E minor, back to the 2, and then with the 5 and the 1. Let's see what happens with that. You notice how I was really delicate with that 5? Would have been really different if I had done something like okay. Let's just do 2, 2 chord, 5, 1. Right. Also, this 5 chord, we're going to look at it one more time like this and then add that 9 just as we did with the other chords, right? So yes, we have the 3-5-7 and the 5-7-9, okay, that we can use for our improvisations, right? Now I would like you to take this concept, have some fun with it. Again, review those other sessions. Things are going to fall into place more and more for you. Again, I'm delighted to have you with me, and we'll see you next session.